All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the bi-weekly Subspace desktop app or Subspace apps call. Today, we're mainly going to be talking about changes to the Subspace desktop. We're getting really close to a first release of the Subspace desktop for our non-incentivized community FarmNet. So we're really excited to hear the updates from everybody on that. So Özkan, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. So we had a couple of issues resolved, but the most important change to the desktop app is now it's a standalone app. The node is integrated to it. We haven't released the version. We will submit the last PR and merge it, and then we will release it. But it is working, and I will show you the demo of it. So in a high level, we had previously the farmer integrated into Subspace desktop, so that if you had a node open in a terminal, and if you run our desktop app, it would start farming new blocks. But we wanted it to be a standalone app, so that we integrated that node into the desktop app itself, so that you won't have to open an external terminal for the node, and it should work by itself. I mean the desktop app. I will start with the other PRs that we merged and some issues that are closed, and then I will do the demo, and then I will show the new issues that we have. All of them are small ones, so nothing worrying there. Let me share the screen without further ado. Okay, I think it's visible now. Let me make it a bit bigger. Okay, so I believe the last meeting was 2 weeks ago, so I should start from here. Let me open all of them. So this is basically, we had some fake things just for demo purposes. For example, it was showing 10 gigabytes of allocated space, representing how much space is the blockchain is currently taking. This was a default value. Now we are querying this from the actual blockchain, and it is showing the actual space that will be allocated for the blockchain. And also the plotting progress was a fake progress, so it was just a random time and it was a random progress bar. Now it is corresponding to the actual plotting progress and shows an accurate estimated time and showing the accurate progress also. So this is the PR for that. We don't need to dive into code, right? As I recall. Yeah, okay. So we had a naming issue for the release. It was a simple PR, but we got that going. And here, this is actually not merged into main. As you can see, this is merged from a branch to another branch. So what I will be demonstrating to you is from a branch, not from main. And we will merge that main branch to the main today. And then we will have a release by tomorrow. This PR is the most important one. It basically allows us to run a node inside the desktop app. So this node itself will be run in the background of the app, so it will not be that visible. But we will be able to see the syncing process and the connection process status rather. And yeah, it should be more meaningful when I do the demo, but this was a big PR. And this is for making the GitHub CI work better for the latest updates. So now we are building the executable for Windows 2022. This should work for Windows 10 as well. It was the case for the monorepo, so we imported the same strategy in the desktop app as well. And let me show you the demo.
Back on the last one. Hang on, I was going to have a question. You said there's one, the node integration, which branch merged into a branch, and that branch is supposed to be merged today. What's the bottleneck on getting that merged?
There is no bottleneck, actually. We just want the commits to be compact and precise. I rebase my own commits today. I'm waiting on Leo to rebase his own commits, and then we will merge it to main. So we don't have a new code or new functionality to import, or there is no bug remained to be resolved. So everything is good. It's just rebase.
So we have to rebase, and then we can merge, and then we can publish.
Exactly.
Okay. When is Leo going to have? When is Leo going to have that done?
I don't know. I was trying to contact him, but I believe he was working late yesterday, so it should be pretty quick. I don't think it will take much time.
Okay.
Okay. Any further questions for the PRs? I maybe gone them too fast. Sorry about that. I think now. Okay. So I will start the demo by the dashboard. This is the end screen. I will present another demo just after this, and it will I will show you how it starts. But the reason that I start from the end is thinking and the plotting process are taking time. We don't have that much time, so that this will be the what you have in the end. So it will show you the status of the plot, and we know that it's synced and farming, and also we show that we are synced with the network, and we have this amount of peers at the moment, and it shows how many blocks are farmed by us only. You can see the block numbers, time, and fees in here, and it also shows the amount of subspace credits that we earned. And this is updated in real time. So this is just a dashboard to be looked at for monitoring purposes. Let me stop this. Okay.
Hey, Özkan, how long does it take to sync right now?
Around 5 minutes for me. But since the blockchain is small, it should be larger when time goes by.
And what are you syncing from? Is this local, or are you syncing from the farmnet?
This is from the farmnet, not local.
Okay. Great.
So I'm running the release product. It's not a development or debugging tool. It's just it's just what the users will use.
Okay.
So I'm gonna quit, and I will just rename this for something else and rerun the application. What I did was our application uses a default folder for storing the plot and blockchain data, so that now it will start from scratch because I changed the folder name. So as you can see, this is the plotting screen. Okay, maybe I've gone too fast. Let me start from the more beginning. Okay, let me delete that.
Take it slow and assume we've never seen this before.
Yeah. I forgot. Okay, let me start. Okay, this is the logo of our app. This is the welcoming page. It has a small introduction. We won't go into advanced yet. Let's keep it simple for the moment. When we click quick start, it asks for a password. You can enter a random password. I'm just using 1234 at the moment. They should match, else it won't allow you to go into the next page. And in here, it uses a default folder. You can select another folder if you like from here. And this will be the place. You can
also select another drive as well.
Yeah.
Right.
This will be the place where your plot identity and other farm-related data will be stored at. And we are showing you how much space of your disk is currently used by you. So this is this is already being used. This is the available space you have in your disk. And this is the amount of space that you will use if you decide to plot. So if you decide to contribute to the blockchain and if you want to plot, this much space will be allocated from your disk. And right now, at the moment, it's 0.37 gigabytes for the blockchain itself.
Question.
When I click start
before you click that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's assume that we need 1 gigabyte of space to store the blockchain history. and the user has, I don't know, 1.5 gigabytes available. So this looks fine from their point of view. They click that. And then a month later, the blockchain is actually 2 gigabytes in size. How does the app deal with that right now?
Good question. I don't know, but as far as I recall, this is not 100% accurate because there has been lots of change, so I need to check on that again. But as far as I remember, we are not allowing very tight spaces. So let me rephrase that like this. We are requiring 10 or 20 gigabytes plus this allocated space to be available in your disk. For example, let's say the blockchain space is 5, and let's add 10 gigabytes for that, just for this thing. And 15 gigabytes should be available in your disk space so that you can be able to continue here. I remember something like that.
So right now it's like a constant size buffer or padding that's being added.
Yes, we have a constant padding, if I'm recalling correct. But I need to double check that. There has been lots of changes.
Okay. And what would happen if that space was not available anymore?
I don't know. We haven't tried that test case.
What do you expect? Just imagine. What do you think would happen?
Probably the plotting will fail, but farming should continue because they are independent tasks.
Okay. So that would be the update plotting would fail at some point.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. And then would that cause the app to crash if it couldn't plot?
It could crash, but if it's doing that, if we discover that, the patch will be really easy. We can just cover these plotting block in try catch, and if it fails, it will just fail and the app can continue without panicking. So even if it's that, the fix should be easy.
Okay, can you make a to-do for yourself and add a test case where you can make this happen and see what happens and make sure that it is handled, and that when it does happen, that it doesn't cause the app to crash. And also, I think the user should get some sort of a notification when they've run out of space for their plot as well.
Makes sense. And do we want plotting to fail and farming to continue, as I explained, right? This is the expected behavior.
Yeah, I think that, we should just stop, like the plot shouldn't, once it runs out of space, it should just stop trying to grow the plot. I know this will be handled later, but I don't know when later will be, when we have partial replica, multiple replica farming, and we have this app now. So I think we'll have issues with this before that. So I just want to make sure this is handled.
Sure, of course. Should I move on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so when we start plotting, it will try to fetch the network data from the blockchain, and then when it does that, it will start syncing the node. So as you can see, this is actually the integrated node running in the background, and it will start syncing the process. When we reach this number, it will start the initial plotting, and then we will have a elapsed time and remaining time. So these two are made for plotting, not for syncing. One thing should change in here for the upcoming release one after the upcoming release. Now in the protocol, we are supporting plotting during at the same time with syncing. So plotting and syncing can go at the same time. This was a recent change to the protocol, which is not implemented in the desktop app. In the desktop app, we are syncing the nodes, wait for its finish, then start the farming process. But now we are able to start farming and syncing process at the same time. This has not yet been implemented. This is one of the issues that I'm going to talk about later. But it's not a bug. So it's working like that. It's fine. It could be better. That's what I'm trying to say. So this will take a lot of time. That's why I didn't want to start with this and show you the dashboard. But in here we have the next button clickable. When we click that, this is like an information model explaining you what is plotting, what is farming, what are rewards. I'm not going to read all of them. And when we click next in here you have the mnemonic for your private key. This is fine for me to share because it's an incentivized testnet, but you should not share this information with anybody else, especially in the mainnet. So you can copy this to clipboard. When you click this icon, it's automatically copied, so you can paste it in somewhere safe. And without clicking here, the next button is not available, so you should back up your mnemonic for the private key. And then we are showing some other mediums to contact us. And now, as you can see, next button became disabled. This will become available again once syncing and plotting are finished. Then when you click this next button, it will direct you to the dashboard that I show you in the first place. I think that's all for the demo if you don't have any questions.
Awesome. Looks great, Özkan. Thank you. One other note, can we change the logo to reflect the new logo? Or
okay.
the main logo that we use?
You mean here or from the app?
It has the subspace in cursive, like Polkadot, the way Polkadot is written, like in script. But
okay.
We don't use that anywhere else. We just use like plain characters for subspace, like in the top left.
Yeah.
So it should be like circle S there.
Here, I get you. I get you. You mean here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we can do that for sure. No problem.
Great.
I can talk about the new issues we have, or we can continue talking about the demo.
Anybody else have feedback on the demo?
This might be kind of a back burner issue, but it might be good to clear the clipboard after 30 seconds or so, considering like it's not good to keep the hazardous data on your clipboard, that being the private key or the mnemonic. But like I said, it's kind of more of a long-term issue.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
Can
make
you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we can hear you, Lou.
Sorry, I was coming home from dentist. My face is a little big, but I have a feedback in here. We can make that the user, we can force that the user go to the dashboard and watch this same information, but not getting stuck in here like 1 hour, 2 hour. I don't know if you understand me.
But the user will be able to track the plotting, initial plotting, and I believe we want to show that. What Leo suggests is, I kind of agree with him. Maybe plotting will take too much time for those who don't have powerful GPUs or CPUs. And instead of looking at this progress bar, they can jump to the dashboard. We can make it available. And in the dashboard, we could have a small information or progress bar that showing the status of the initial plotting. So that dashboard is more fun than this screen, that's why.
Yeah, I hear you guys on that. I know we've talked about this in the past. We've said we're just going to get this working. We'll change the user experience. That's like a drastic change to the user experience. We'll change that on the next iteration. Right now, we're just trying to get this released as is and get feedback on it. But yeah, that's definitely something to note for a future upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And I think
we can improve this later.
Yeah, so it's a good idea, Leo. I agree. It's going to be a lot of rework to fix that, and we're behind schedule already, basically. So, okay. So Özkan, can you also make notes, issues on what Justin said about copy to the clipboard and this design change as issues in the backlog if they're not already accounted for?
Sure. So, okay, let's just wait a little bit so that plotting can start. It's very soon. Great. So
I get another question regarding the reward address also. We are not adding that option in this version also. We are just using the same that the farmer for now.
He's referring to how the in the newest snapshot release, we changed how the reward addresses worked. So you now specify your preferred address, and no matter what farmer will all send to your preferred address rather than having to import multiple farmer identities into your wallet.
Do you specify your preferred address, or does it just, if you don't specify a preferred address, it still generates a reward address for you?
I believe it's still gonna do the thing in default, so you don't have to do anything manually.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah, right now we are just using the same that is generated for the farmer.
Right, so the farmer has its identity. There's just an extra parameter you can now specify of, okay, send it from this identity to my preferred identity.
Right.
Yes. And UI must change for importing that functionality in here.
Well, there's a reward address, like as I understand it, in the new snapshot, there's a reward address which is generated regardless, which is separate from the farmer identity. And that reward address you can specify. But if you don't specify a reward address, you still get one that's different from the farmer identity, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay.
And my question is, we want to add that feature in this version, in this iteration, or we just wait to the next?
I think next iteration, Leo.
Okay.
That should be, yeah.
Well, isn't this, is this built on that snapshot or on the previous snapshot?
Yeah, this is built on the latest snapshot, so it's already have that feature. It's just that the user don't have a way to specify that extra parameter from the GUI.
Yeah, yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah, I think that's a later thing. But the address that they're shown is their reward address, not the farmer signing key. If they want to like export,
we need to double check that.
Okay, so that's something we do need to correct. Yeah. So make sure that that mnemonic that you're getting is the reward address mnemonic and not the local signing key mnemonic.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, we definitely got to fix that or else you won't be able to draw your rewards.
So now the next button is clickable, and when I click it, it's again showing you the dashboard that I shown you previously. And there will be small pop-ups for each farmed block when you do that. So that's all. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I've got a few edge case questions here. What happens right now if you double click Subspace desktop launch icon again?
Opens the same instance, doesn't initiate a new instance. So we got that covered.
Okay, and what happens when you click X?
It just minimizes, so it's here still. And if I double click it, nothing happens. We have to explicitly click show in here. So it
feels like if I double click it, it should maximize it if it's minimized in the tray.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know how to do that at the moment, but I wish it was like that. We can fix that later.
Okay, can you make an issue to do that as well?
Yeah.
And put in the board.
Tauri has this API. We are using the relaunch actually, and maybe in there is a method to show and hide the window, probably.
Okay, and then one more thing, Oskin, can you show me what happens when I quit and then I restart after I've already plotted and synced?
Sure. Now I quit and I will reopen it. Okay. It will just show this screen, and when it connects to the client successfully, it should go directly to the dashboard as here. And you see the farm blocks are already displayed correctly. So it doesn't start from scratch.
Nice. Okay, and how does it work right now with exporting my key to be able to see my rewards in the wallet or in the Block Explorer?
I don't know. We haven't thought about it, I believe. So you have your mnemonic stored in somewhere. So I thought using that information, you could use that export or use another wallet functionality.
What happens when I click the settings button?
There is a reset button, and it starts on boot.
And what happens when I click reset?
Um,
But that's
yeah.
basically like a hard reset, like delete my
Exactly.
plot,
Yeah.
start over. Okay.
It actually delete the folder of the application and kill all the process and reset the process.
Okay.
Just leave it in a first launch state.
Okay. We probably eventually are going to want to add something where they have to like type in confirm or like hard reset or something so they don't accidentally click that and erase their plot after like a day of, plotting. Like when you want to delete like a repo in GitHub, you have to like manually type in the repo name, something like that.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Okay. And then I saw that there's the launch on restart. Like there was a toggle for that in the settings.
Launch on boot. Yeah.
Start on boot. So we want to make that the default and they have to opt out of that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the preferred feature that people want. And if they don't, they might expect that to happen. And then the next time they launch, they just might forget, or not know that they had to do that. So so that's another issue. Let's make that a default feature.
Okay.
Okay, so there's no way. What's the list icon to the right of the farmed blocks?
Just expands this list. Yeah.
Okay. So there's no way once I'm in here for me to extract my public key. Or my
I think here is your public key.
Yeah, that's the public key actually. Yeah.
But
we can add some copy button to get it. And actually, I was trying to add a link to the Polka.Explorer in this blog, so you can click and yeah, I think that I wasn't able to do it with Vue, but shouldn't be hard actually. So you can maybe click in here and go to the blog, the farmed blog in Polka.Explorer. You can see actually in there you can see the rewards and everything. Should be cool. You should.
Yeah, I think we need to sort that out, like that user experience problem. There's really two things you should be able to do from this screen. Like you should be able to click something like public key or transaction and be taken to a view of that wallet, that account in the Block Explorer. And that's at least in read-only mode. And then there needs to be some way, like it's just not like we know how to do it because we're like, okay, we understand that you had to have your private key and you have to go back and like launch Substrate extension and all the great user experience that Polkadot gave us around the wallet. But like somebody else is like, who has no idea what Polkadot or Substrate extension, Polkadot.js extension is, they're like, okay, how do I spend my funds now or whatever? How do I control those funds? And I think they're going to be lost. And we need something here, like a little link, like, back to the settings, re-export my private key, type in my password, export my private key. I don't know, like we talked about this before where we had some way to auto import into the Substrate extension or the Polkadot.js extension. I think that's still that's a UX problem that's the stage that we're at right now. Is how do we bridge that final step for the user?
Yeah. And
sure, right now actually the app is working and it's not crashing, so we can start adding these new features. we didn't want to change anything. But after using it for a while, you start feeling like stuck in the dashboard, like you cannot do anything. And
Right.
and yeah, I at least want to know who I am and some kind of way to get out of this dashboard to the Polkadot Explorer. With that should be a good improvement, I think.
Yeah, I think the first step is, just to be able to have a link that takes me to our Block Explorer and shows me my account. That's like a read-only mode. I think that's the quick win. That's the low-hanging fruit. And then the more advanced thing is, okay, how do we make it so the user can? There's like a clear workflow here to be able to actually spend those funds, or to export my private key or transfer it to Polkadot.js.
I completely agree. By the way, just to be
I
sure,
got a comment in there.
yeah,
As Gun
go ahead.
said, the user already have the mnemonic. So if we want to re-export the mnemonic or the private key or any, we should like get it from the node. And because right now we are not storing that in the
We will not
the app.
re-export the mnemonic, I believe, just the public
Yeah.
key.
Well, we have the private key, right? How else are we?
We are
Oh,
not
that's right.
storing
It doesn't need it, because it only needs the signing key in order to, right? So it's deleted at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
For security purposes, we are not storing the mnemonic.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so all we
So
can
to do
export
that,
is the
maybe
public key. Yeah.
we should do that. Any wallet does is that we can encrypt the folder with the password the user put in the setup progress, and after that maybe we can store this sensitive information and have this feature to export the private keys in a more secure environment. I mean.
Yeah, that was the original intent behind the password, was to encrypt that mnemonic private key that they had, so that it could be secured or stored in a more secure manner locally. I think the intent right now behind this design, and I think this was from Nazar, was you shouldn't be storing this reward. Like the default behavior, the ideal behavior is not to store this private key locally, or at least not within the app's context. And just to put that on the user. But I agree that like some users are going to be like, well, I'm okay with storing it in an encrypted form as a convenience method. And I guess that should be like an opt-in feature that should be clear somehow in the plotting process, where they have to go through and copy and paste their mnemonic and click I agree. We just have to, that's
Maybe
like that will
maybe
just
that
confuse
should be
people if we don't do it right.
applicable in the advanced section, because that's a very advanced option in my opinion. So if we just expose this option to the regular users, it should be maybe too advanced and scary.
I disagree. I think it's the opposite. I think the advanced function should be to get the mnemonic out, and the simple function should be to encrypt it by default and store it on their machine.
Okay. Okay. Oh, by the way, just to be sure, we have talked about lots of improvements and issues, but the only one that needs to be resolved before this release is making sure that this public ID is the reward address, right? And if not, we should fix it. But all the other issues we are talking are for the upcoming, not the current release, but for the next releases.
And the logo.
Yeah. Oh, logo as well. True.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but everything else we can hold off on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this looks great. I mean, I know I'm giving you guys a lot of nitpicks here, but this is amazing that we've got it working, and it restarts and it syncs, and there's no CLI. So great work. Really,
Yeah,
really
I
happy with
agree.
this, everybody.
We are very happy with Leo. So I can show some other issues that I issued like 2 or 3 hours ago. So I already talked about that. So we can start the plotting without waiting for the sync. So I'm not going to dive into this. And here, if you remember, there was a checkbox for, okay, I copied my mnemonic. This is actually clickable without revealing the mnemonic, which doesn't make any sense. So we should make this disabled and we should click the reveal first, then it should be enabled. Very small issue, but needs to be fixed. The other ones are mostly will be solved with this PR, so we don't need to go over them. So that's all on my side.
With which PR?
The PR that we are going to make for all these node integration changes to main.
Okay, the one that needs to just be rebased.
Yeah, exactly.
Cleaner commit history. Okay, so so that's everything else below make I've copied is going to be implemented in that PR?
Which one? Yeah. No, these two will be implemented later, not for
right,
this
but
release.
everything below those two will be implemented with the PR that should be merged soon.
Not everything, but most of them. For example,
let's go through them one by one quickly.
Okay.
We don't need to open them. Just give it the high level.
Okay, I don't know what this is, so Leo needs to explain.
That's the auto updates, right, for the app, so that we don't need to download updates, but they get pushed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again,
is that going to be in this release or in a future release?
I believe future.
Yeah, we have to make the updater work for all the OS, so probably will be in the next. Yeah.
Okay.
So Leo, can you talk about these two?
Yeah, when you have a lot of blocks, the UI is not optimized. So if you have, I don't know, 10,000 farmed block, the app will show the 10,000 blocks in the UI, and in there it will start to fill slowly. But that's the issue we have now. But if we have this in production, probably will take some time to reach 10,000 farmed blocks for now.
Okay.
But we have to optimize that in Vue.
Do you want me to open that, or do you recall what was it, Leo?
I think we're good on
yeah, there is some use case where you have reorganized blocks. So sometimes you farm a block and it gets some kind of overridden and farmed by another farmer, and you have to validate if I really farm this block. Right now, it's just comparing the incoming blocks. So
so you're talking about reorgs?
Yeah.
Okay, so we show it to the user as soon as it's farmed, not after it's like K deep.
Yeah, right now we are not validating that. Yeah, so
yeah, so that's the fix. So whenever a block is farmed, we don't want to display it to the user. We want to wait till there's like K confirmations, like it's 6 blocks deep, for example. That's the simple solution to that. I don't know how simple that is on the UI point of view, but that's the protocol simplicity there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for this, I can explain it. Right now, the stop farmer on the reset actually kills the process. But we have a more elegant solution available in the backend, since farming is a standalone struct. So we can drop the plotting and stop the plotting or farming processes in the library. We are not using them currently. So I will add in the middleware, in the Tauri side, stop farming and stop plotting functions, so that they can be invoked from the front end side, so that we won't have to hard restart everything. We can just kill the plotting or farming processes individually. So this is not a huge enhancement. It will just make the reset operation more elegant and probably more efficient, but it should be the same functionality. So it's not a big deal.
Okay.
This should be
It's just
fixed
to
by
stop the node
yeah.
and the farmer like gracefully. It's just that.
Yeah. This is what we've been talking about. This is already fixed by the changes we made. So when we merge our current changes to main, it should be fixed. These two are not that important. They are just for development purposes, not related to users. That's all.
Okay. And you've got a list of all the issues we discussed on this call to add in here, Özkan.
Yeah, in my mind, I didn't wanna
Okay.
pause
Let's
the
go
meeting.
Let's
we got the
make a
recording.
list. Okay.
Sorry.
Well, let's just make a list really quick right now, Özkan.
Okay,
I found that's the best way to make sure this happens.
So
so
logo fix.
Fix the logo.
Farmer
Yeah.
Reward address. I know it's too small. Let me make it. Okay. And yeah.
So those need to be done in this release.
Mm-hmm.
And then for future release.
Okay. Yeah.
So the first big one is to be able to click from the reward, from the block reward into the actual block explorer. Second one is to be able to connect the private key or some sort of instructions on connecting the mnemonic into the wallet. We also want to make it so you maximize the app from the tray whenever you double click the launcher if it's minimized.
I'm thinking about if we may miss anything.
We wanted to the error around the over the plot exceeding the size of the disk space available to handle that error. That's all that I can remember.
Yeah. If you missed anything, probably I will remember during the process. I will edit here. And this will all be in the GitHub. So everybody will be able to see it.
Okay.
Should I stop presenting? Any more questions about this?
Any questions from the group or comments on the desktop app?
That's everything I had.
Great. Okay, Leo. Yeah, you can stop presenting. Leo, we talked earlier before you joined the call. There were some rebase commits that you need to do before we can merge this release. Are you tracking on that?
Yeah, I got the rebase on my local branch, and I have to force the update.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you think we'll be able to get that merged today so we can go ahead and rebuild?
Yeah, after this call, I will send the force. I was just validating the rebase was doing good, and no errors in there.
Okay, great. Anything else from your side on the desktop app, Leo?
No, I think Osgun covered everything.
Okay. All right, Justin, do you want to talk about the FarmNet status?
Yeah. So overall, it's been going pretty well. Currently, we're up to telemetry showing about 150 plus nodes. So many people are hopping on, finding the instructions. As far as the Jan 5 snapshot, haven't seen any new issues pop up or anything like that. But as of yesterday, we started the pre-release. So people are now seeing that came out and like hopping onto it, trying to be ahead of the ball and everything. But because our boot node isn't updated on the domain, they're getting all kinds of issues when they try and start the March snapshot. So you may have seen I put out an announcement yesterday or late last night saying to just use the recommended latest release, not to use the pre-release until like we announce it, basically. And that was just to try and stop on those issues, because I saw like 5 in an hour, so I imagine like, man, there's going to be 20 of these by the time I wake up. But other than that, I think we just need to find a good, update process for new snapshots. Other than that, though, everything's been going pretty good, and people seem to be very excited to hop on the network.
Okay, so the snapshot that was on the boot node for the FarmNet was out of sync with the snapshot that we had on GitHub for like new people to go in and run the farmer from the CLI.
Well, it's just that the farm rpc.subspace.network domain, that boot node is still running snapshot Jan 5. Currently, March 9th is a pre-release snapshot, but it's not the latest, like green, stable release. So people saw the pre-release and started using the pre-release instead of the stable release.
Okay. So what's the fix for that?
We were just trying to make sure that March 9 didn't have any major issues. It tested out on my end. We just need to update farm RPC to be on the March 9th snapshot from here. And then we should be good to get users moving forward.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure Subspace Desktop was working and the node was working before doing that, because obviously once we make that domain switch, it's going to break the 150 nodes that are online right now.
Okay. So we haven't upgraded the FarmNet to the latest release yet.
Correct. It's live. It's on farm RPC B, but it hasn't been like AB switched over yet.
Okay. Okay. And so, Leo, so you're saying that you'll have these changes committed today. That means we can build the new version, and then at that point, people can start, like the team can start running the desktop app and on FarmNet B. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And whenever we switch, when we do the blue-green between FarmNet A and FarmNet B, does that require a change in the desktop app, or is that just a change in the DNS in the servers in which the pointing?
It's just a DNS setting. So once the DNS is updated, the command should point to the right version after that.
Okay.
Yeah, when we generate this new release on the application, we need to with Oscun like change the DNS in the environment. Yeah, to not because we are testing directly with the farm B URL, and we should use the global farm RPC URL. And that will work, obviously, when we make this switch with blue-greens. So having the release confirmed, we make this change, and we can publish the app.
Okay, great. Okay, anything else on your side, Justin?
That was everything. I'm mostly just trying to get some documentation updated regarding the new snapshot and some of the new reward address functionality there. And then also just getting documentation updated for Subspace Desktop.
Great. All right. Dana, anything on your side? Okay. All right. Anything else we need to discuss before we close out? Great. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching, and be on the lookout for a release here soon to run Subspace on your desktop. Thanks, everybody.